Hey, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Matt and this is Bask in the Story. So today we're going to be talking about Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. I should say, the Hugo nominated book. Let's start off the book. I am stunned that this has been nominated for Hugo. This is a fun, light-hearted book, but I question whether this is the best science fiction fantasy book of the year. But we'll come on to that, shall we? Because I'm still in shock that it's on the Hugo shortlist. So, what's this book about? This book is about a guy called Jamie who lives in New York when COVID hit. So this was actually written during COVID. COVID hits, and we have, he basically ends up as a food delivery driver for some food app. And life's not going great for him at the time, but through his food deliveries he meets someone and is offered a job for an animal rights organisation, which he takes because it's got to be better than what he's doing. He then proceeds to join up with the KPS, the Kaiju Preservation Society. So he's told that they are there for the preservation and looking after large animals. So he thinks big animals, probably going to Africa. They have a lot of big animals there. Then he's told he's going to Antarctica. And he says, oh, okay, maybe polar bears, maybe? Not Antarctica, Arctic. One of the poles. He's going to Antarctica and he's thinking polar bears. Then he's completely wrong, isn't he? Presumably, therefore, he's going to the Arctic, if I remember rightly. Because there's going to be polar bears. It must be the Arctic. Otherwise, John Scalzi has got his geography horribly wrong as well. Anyway, he's going somewhere cold. So he thinks maybe we're going there to look after polar bears. It must be the Arctic. Why am I even questioning myself? There are no polar bears in the South Pole. There's only penguins at the South Pole. And there's polar bears at the North Pole. This is irrelevant to the story. There's not polar bears, and actually he's not going to be staying on this Earth. He's going to a parallel Earth, and that's where we have giant, great, big monsters. Not even giant, great, big monsters, but giant, great, big nuclear-fueled monsters, the Kaiju. And they're there to preserve them. They live in this alternate Earth that has a very hot, humid, thick atmosphere, and these massive creatures, horrible insects, enormous parasites, just basically hell for humans, but brilliant for these massive, massive animals. And the KPS is effectively a research organisation that's researching these animals, trying to look after these animals, and trying to prevent them or preserve them in their alternative dimension and prevent them escaping or getting across into our dimension, our Earth, and causing havoc. This is a fun, light-hearted read. I blitzed through it really quickly. It was very enjoyable. There's plenty of humour and jokes, though I will admit that some of the jokes get a bit worn out towards the end and a little bit repetitive. But overall, it was a lot of fun. It was thoroughly enjoyable. You know, we have some characters that you'll get to enjoy, and it is engaging, and it is a fun, light-hearted book. It is really enjoyable to read, and that's the best way to sort of wrap it up. It doesn't do much more than that. It's not, and there's an afterword by John Scalzi himself, and he says that he was actually trying to write a different book. He was trying to write a deeper, literary, philosophical, sci-fi book that really delved into some issues, but he couldn't write it because of what was going on in COVID, and the emotional toll that was taking on him and many of us at the time. He just couldn't sit down and write that book. And this is the book that he eventually could write. And it brought him joy, it brought him pleasure. And he states, I'll get the quote slightly wrong, but he goes along the lines of saying, this is not some deep, meaningful symphony of a work. This is a pop song. And sometimes we need a pop song because they're light, they're fun and enjoyable. And this is what it is. And he had great fun writing it, and he hopes we enjoy reading it and gives us some joy and brings a smile to our face. And it does. It is fun. It is enjoyable. Is it the best sci-fi fantasy book written this year? I don't think so, no. I think it's a fun, light-hearted book. Is it going to change the way I think about the world? No. Is it shortlisted for a Hugo? Yes. And I still don't know why, but it is shortlisted for a Hugo Award. And if he wins, all credit to him. Well done. He's a very popular author and he's written some very good books. And this is a fun book, but I still question, is it the best sci-fi fantasy book of the year? It's in the final, 6 is there shortlisted for the Hugo. So if you want to read this, I would encourage you to read it. It's good fun. It's enjoyable. It's a quick read. It's entertaining. And that's where it stops. And that, I think, is all I have to say on the book. So please do check it out. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please do like, comment, subscribe. As usual, all helps out the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.